Welcome to It's the Economy. In the recently declared GDP numbers, among the fastest growing verticals was construction, growing at 10.7%, and clearly roads construction was the one leading it. Roads were in the headlines again when the Prime Minister inaugurated the Mumbai Trans Harbour link just last week. Indeed, this year a bunch of expressways have been inaugurated. To understand what has been the achievements of the Roads Ministry and what do they expect to achieve in the remaining 3 months, given that the Code of Conduct will kick in, I have with me the Secretary of MoRTH, the Ministry of Roads and Highways, Mr. Anurag Jain. Mr. Jain, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Can you begin by telling us what has been the pace of construction? How much has been constructed in the 9 months? And we will come to what you expect to do in the remaining 3 months.
First thing is that because of election, model code when it sets in, it is a ban on our award.
Okay.
But the projects which have been awarded and are under construction, there is no change in the pace of that construction. Contractors will continue to work,
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's good to hear. And I will come to the awards bit in just a bit. You have, I think the entire roads budget was 2.59 lakh crore this year. How much have you all spent? And do you expect to draw down the entire amount?
Against, I think there's something misunderstanding with the number. We had 2.70 lakh crore capital expenditure.
Okay.
Against that, by December, we had done 2.23 lakh, which is 82%.
Okay.
If you recall, Honorable Prime Minister Saab in the beginning of the financial year had given a challenge to all the infrastructure ministries to try and spend 80% of the capital budget by December. And I'm very happy to share that we reached 83%. And considering the performance, even though numbers are not out, but what we have been indicated in the RE will be given another 6,000 crore extra by finance because of this good performance.
Okay. No, that's extremely good because it does create a lot of employment as well. So maybe 2.76 lakh crore is what the ministry may succeed in spending. Another finance point, what is the likely toll increase this year? We have not seen very high increases in wholesale price index. So how much may be the toll increase and what are you likely to make by way of toll?
In toll, we'll cross, I think, 55,000 crore. I don't recall that number precisely. In toll, what we are doing, because I'll have to take a stock because certain things get monetized. We sell our revenue, toll revenue to some agencies. So we convert it to asset monetization. So the direct toll which comes to us becomes less and monetization becomes. But still, I think the total number of the two put together would be about 55,000 crore.
Okay. In fact, let us come to monetization. I think the NHAI monetization target was 30,000 crores, if I'm not mistaken. But if you can give us the breakup, how much have they already monetized and what can we expect in the fourth quarter? Monetization
is another great success story this year. The last 2 years, in 21-22, we did about 23,000 crore. In 22-23, we did about 17,000 crore. So in last 2 years, we have done about 40,000 crore.
Okay.
This year, as per the budget numbers, we were targeting 35,000 crore. But NITI, which the agency which monitors the asset monetization pipeline, had given us an aggressive target of 44,000, which was slightly sort of aspirational target.
Okay.
Against that 44,000 crore, we have already achieved 20,000 crore. And in the next 3 months, I think we'll be achieving another 20,000 crore.
Oh, okay.
So we'll end up doing about 41,000 crore, which is actually equal to the last 2 years put together.
Okay.
This year, we did a lot of changes in the TOT. When I joined at that point of time, we found that the TOT 11 and 12 had failed.
Okay.
So we interacted with the ecosystem and we tried to find out what were the reasons of the failure. We brought in a lot of changes in the TOT system. We made it more transparent. We shared all our assumptions. So as a result, our TOT 11, 12, 13, 14 have gone through and all of them have been successful. And we have got 15,968 crores out of that. Okay. Now, the most important part, what we have been doing at the change of culture, which I was pushing for. Earlier, after the opening of bid, it used to take almost about 2 months before the approvals would be in place for TOT.
Okay.
This year, all these TOTs were awarded within 24 hours of opening of bid.
Okay.
which actually means that if I get 16,000 crores 2 months earlier, which means if you take the cost of financing of government, what the rate at which finance ministry raises the money. So we have got indirectly 200 crore rupees addition.
Okay.
2 months interest on
Got
16,000
it.
crore
Okay.
rupees.
Okay. Point taken. I think one of the points in which the industry is a bit worried is whether tendering will happen in the fourth quarter. As you said, you will be nearing the announcement of the elections. So what has been the tendering so far, and what do you think you can still manage in the 2-3 months of Q4?
Actually, tendering, we changed certain systems. So therefore, there was some sort of depression in the projects awarded this year to begin with. I have started insisting on ensuring that we have 90% of land or 80% of land
Fair.
before we award. The interpretation of that condition, our officers used to take as that piece of land, 90%, 80% should be available at the appointed date. The way we go, we award the project, then the contracting agencies goes for financial closure, comes back, and then there's an appointed date.
Okay.
So if it is an EPC contract, you get 3 months. If it is a HAM project, you get 6 months. So between this period, they would expect that they would complete the 90% or 80% of land availability. Since I was in finance earlier and I knew what was the genesis of these conditions, I have started insisting that these conditions have to be maintained at the time of award.
Fair point.
I look at it as I've given basically, after I've joined the ministry, we have put in 3 major goalposts. 0 complaints, which is, I know, very difficult to achieve. 0 fatality. I mean, there's a goalpost we should be looking at and trying to change our direction. And third and most important when you're talking about construction and award is 0 arbitration.
Okay.
Most of the arbitration where we lose, we end up paying a lot of additional money is on account of that we don't prepare our project properly. At the time of award, we don't have full readiness with the land, we don't have full readiness with the permissions required. And then there are delays which are then attributable to the authority. We end up paying a lot of additional money.
Okay.
I insisted as a result, in the first 9 months, the actual award came down to just about between 3 to 3,500 kilometers.
Okay.
But in the next 1.5 months, we expect the model code to kick in the first week of March. This 3,500 kilometer number will go to 10,000 kilometers.
Oh, okay.
All that pipeline is already mature.
Okay.
You won't believe in the last about 1.5 months, I am doing SFC, the Standing Finance Committee, which approves projects, almost 4 to 5 times a week.
Okay. Okay.
And then we have made a lot of change in the systems. So we are coming out with BOT projects. Of course, they will get awarded in June after the model code, etc. gets over. But we would launch the tenders now so that there's sufficient time for the ecosystem to react. But we have prepared those projects. So there is a difference in the quality of the projects which have been prepared now.
Oh, that's very good to hear that you are targeting to award up to 10,000 crores for the full year, having awarded already maybe about 2,000-3,000. You have a lot of work left, but good to hear that the quality of the projects, the tenders that will come, will be, arbitration-free, hopefully. Just a final question. Can you update us on the Bharatmala Pariyojana? Any important projects that we should look forward to?
Bharatmala Pariyojana, as you know, that 34,800 kilometers was the target. Out of that, I think 27,500 kilometers is what we have awarded. Until now, the construction of about 15,500 kilometers has been completed. And as you know that now we are looking at the vision which Honorable Prime Minister has given, and we are trying to relook at those projects, aligning it to the vision.
Okay. Final couple of questions. You've also asked for changes in the model concessionaire agreement. Can you enlighten us as to what are the changes and how will it make, construction, tendering, awarding easier?
I just mentioned in the previous question about the BOT.
Yes.
why the BOT went out of the picture was that there are two risks. One is the construction risk and other is the revenue risk. And if you want a PPP, good PPP, it has to be a balance of risk and reward. So when the BOT went down for various reasons, I'll not get into this for paucity of time. Then the ministry, NHAI, the ministry came up with a very good model of HAM.
Yes.
Where what is HAM? It is basically 40% VGF, and the revenue is taken out of it. It's only the construction risk which remains with the PPP. So it's a very good model of PPP. Then we analyze what happens if the change in the traffic happens for various reasons. And we have got various clauses to say if there is a competing road, then we'll give compensation. So it creates a jumble and arbitration and legal contests. So what we are looking at, first, defining these definitions very precisely. Number two, making this revenue risk part very precise. Our philosophy is that if the variation in the traffic is more than plus minus something, then the variation clause kicks in, irrespective of what we don't get into the reasons, whether it was a competing road or something. So this will actually make it a reasonably certain project where we'll adjust the period of award if there is a upside or downside beyond a certain limit, irrespective of the reasons. So it's a better defining things like termination payment, the force majeure clauses, the reasons of changes in the revenue. And so therefore, the interactions which we have had with the construction agencies, I feel confident that now the BOT will take off once again. But we are in the final stages. We are in the stages of interministerial consultation with the NITI and the Department of Economic Affairs. Once we set the MCA finally, our BOT will again come into play. Otherwise, HAM has already come into play. HAM is now well settled. There are no issues on the HAM side, but some clarity of definitions in HAM is also required. So MCA will address the improving the definition part of HAM, and more importantly in the BOT, the revenue risk part, which was cause of lot of litigations earlier. That will be taken care of.
So this is very good to hear. Leave me with a headline. Since there is a lot of ease of doing business that you all have put in place in the current year in terms of bought operations, in terms of acquiring 90% of the land before awarding, should we expect a bumper FY25? Will it be a substantial jump in terms of both awarding and construction because of the
performance of the ministry has been continuously improving. As I think all of us know, a lot of improvements have happened, and there have been continuous comparisons that when our leaders talk about that, if you look at the 10 years period from 4 to 14 and 14 to 23, the pace of construction has become 2.2 times, the pace of award has become 2.8, 2.9 times. So it's continuously on the increase. The government has got a clear focus on infrastructure, and there have been increased allocations. And the way we are doing the asset monetization, we are creating innovative ways to get more funds. I'm sure the things will continue to look up.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jain, for giving us a bunch of headlines and for speaking to us. The headlines being that the ministry expects to reach 10,000 crores of awarding by the end of the financial year, despite the fact that the first 9 months have not seen much of awarding. The second big headline, they did not award much because they were cleaning up the process and were wanting to award only when 90% of the land is acquired. There have been some sensible tweakings to the model concessionaire agreements as well, so as to reduce arbitration. And finally, construction and monetization have been a success story for FY24. That's it on this edition of It's the Economy. Thank you very much for joining. After a break, it will be Chartbusters.